I'm Jean Jones, and I'm married to Jerry Jones. Together, our family has the Dallas Cowboy football team, and we've recently built Cowboy Stadium. The project started out so exciting, but got even more exciting. When we first talked about building a new stadium, our entire family was on board. We talked about it every time we were together. We've been involved with the Dallas Cowboys for 22 years now. And each and every weekend during football season, that's what we do. We go to a stadium, whether it be our Cowboy Stadium or whether we go to a stadium for an opposing team. So we have seen a few stadiums. As we work through the process of the design of our building, which that took a long time. We visited all these stadiums, and Jerry was the first to say he wanted the curtain wall to be glass. And he wanted it to be a beautiful glass, not a concrete block stadium or a concrete poured stadium. He wanted it to be a beautiful building. We felt like football is a newer sport, and it's very strong and powerful, and it's futuristic and new to me. It called for a new stadium, and it called for a very contemporary building. And the fact that it was growing into a more fabulous building, I thought every great building needs great art. Just like a great home needs great art, a great building needs great art. We knew we didn't want it to be football art. Having art in a sporting arena was just not what had been done before, and not this type of art. You see football players, you see your star athletes, which are great to have, but for these big walls that for the masses of people to see, we wanted something strong and powerful, so you needed an artist that was an artist of that type, that could do these explosive pieces that would hold up in such a big building. Franz Ackerman loves beautiful color. I mean, the reds and the pinks and the orange and the yellow and the greens and all bright colors. They're just all beautiful. In a building this large with so much concrete and steel, it has really popped, and it has really taken a lot of interest from the public and from the sports fans because of the bright color and the massive scale. It's really large. I mean, it encompasses more square footage than any piece that we have. Olafur Eliasson was probably the very first commissioned artist that we selected. And we looked at his work, and it was presented to the Art Council, and we studied that, and immediately Jerry and I loved it. And we thought, for one of our entrances, where you walk in and you can see the field, and to me, they're the most powerful entrances of the stadium. Gary Simmons was one of our first artists to select. When he came to actually install his work, he saw really then how tall it was. And he was like, I'm afraid of heights. And he was going to have to be on a scaffold that was like 30 feet tall. So there he was, and all the construction people were like, Gary, you're gonna be fine. We have this harness on you. We've got all these people around you. But it took him 3 days to install that, maybe a week by the time it was all fine-tuned. But he was just wonderful, and he got so into his installation. Well, I think there are a lot of people out there like me that maybe they didn't grow up with art as a real important part of their life. And I've loved that I've been exposed to it. And I just think exposure to the average person is so important. And people might think, that's something I want to know more about. It might enrich my life. It might make me more knowledgeable. I think your sports fans might not be all going into a museum. And some of them maybe would like to, but maybe they just never got invited and they weren't sure how it all worked. So I think the attraction of the art, it might get in your soul, it might just take over. It can touch your life, and I think it can touch the average person that maybe just goes to sporting events.